Give the judges another shot at it? Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
This isn't only about a single fight. It reflects a recurring issue that has troubled boxing for years. It's called the aside bias, an unwritten rule where the more famous or marketable boxer often gets the judge's edge. Canelo Alvarez, backed by a massive fan base and profitable promotional deals, embodies that role. He's the cash cow, the golden ticket. Atlas warns this reputation brings a risky advantage. Judges, consciously or not, can be swayed by the sports business side. They understand which fighter promoters favor and who might generate bigger profits later. In tight contests, that awareness may shape the result. Atlas views the Crawford scorecards as another vivid case of bias. Even when the fight wasn't close, the officials seemed determined to keep the aside alive and protect its value.
If I'm with Canelo, I think I'm happy with Cheetum. But if I'm with Crawford, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, wait a minute, hold on. This guy had he had Canelo over Bevo.
No,
he had Bevo over Canelo. That's why I meant to say. I'm sorry. He had it that close. How he had
115,
it like,
113. Now listen, there's another judge on this card who will be officiating this fight, Crawford versus Canelo, Steve Weisfeld, who also scored at 115, 113. I've more singled out Tim Cheetum because of the inconsistency.
Because of his past record.
Yeah, I didn't think Loma lost to Haney. That was one of them. I just talked about the Zoo versus Fandora #1. That one, unbelievable. Richardson Hitchens versus Lemos, way too wide. Just recently, we watched a great fight, Figueroa versus Joet Gonzalez. Way too wide for Figueroa. There's been...
For anyone needing proof, Teddy Atlas points to a familiar name, Tim Cheetum. Atlas and Crawford's team felt uneasy as soon as his name surfaced. Why? Because Cheetum owns a history of puzzling scorecards that often stretch belief. Look at the Bivol-Canelo clash. Bivol earned a clear, convincing win, yet Cheetum had it 115 to 113, just one round from even. That decision caused uproar and raised questions about neutrality, nor was it rare. Atlas cited other bouts where Cheetum's judging leaned toward the fighter with more on the line. To Atlas, assigning him to such a headline match this year signaled trouble Crawford might fight uphill before throwing a punch. When someone like Atlas, who's given his life to boxing, doubts the judges, alarm bells ring. The Canelo-Crawford showdown was sold as a monumental spectacle. But behind the glitter, suspicion grew, and the cards confirmed fans' darkest worries. Atlas fumed. After witnessing a clinic from Terence "Bud" Crawford, whom he thought dominated, hearing 116 to 112, 115 to 113, and 115 to 113 enraged him.
The thing that bothered me, there's only one thing that really did bother me, and that's why I don't want a rematch, I'll be honest. I've been in this business 50 years, too long to fool myself. Those judges should be really, they got to look in the mirror to have it that close. There's no way it was that close. Thank God he dominated. Because otherwise we might be here talking a whole different thing and really going nuts. And I would definitely break this thing.
Yes, you would. I believe you.
And maybe that. And I'd owe money. And I couldn't care. I would pay it. But at the end of the day, that's why I don't want to see it again. He dominated, and the judges had it that close.
Yeah.
Give the judges another shot at it. Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
Atlas wasn't alone in his outrage. Former NFL standout and outspoken analyst Chad Ochocinco shared the shock, stunned that the tallies didn't match the beating on display. On his show, he insisted, no way was that fight that close. He echoed Atlas's view, pure domination. In his words, Bud owned that bout. He landed sharper punches, heavier blows, and stayed busier. Two, both men, the narrow margin didn't match reality. It warned them something was seriously amiss in a sport they love. Ochocinco added calculations. Crawford swept at least 9 or 10 rounds. He stressed, worst case, Bud dropped 3. Maybe 2 at absolute worst. The consensus among seasoned voices was clear. The official tallies were pure fiction.
But that was a great display of boxing. And had Bud not made it so convincing, there's no way, ain't no way to judge, because I don't give a damn what they say. And no, I've never been a judge. I've never judged the fight officially. But that's not a 115, 113. That's not a 116, 12. If you watch that fight, there's no way you thought that those scores were that close. Bud dominated that fight. I'm talking about dominated. He landed cleaner shots. He landed the harder shots. He was active. Yeah, okay. So he followed him around the ring. Yeah, he was pressuring him. But guess what? Every time he come in there, he got slapped.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I really, really enjoy it. When it comes to boxing, when it comes to the sweet science, for those who know the game, who know the sport, and are not just casual fans of it, when it's done the right way, it's like art. It's like a puzzle. All you're doing is putting the pieces together. Whatever he does, I got something for that. Whatever you do, if he has something for that, you come back with something else. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when it's done the right way, and I really thoroughly enjoyed tonight's fight.
Bud won at least 9 to 10 of those rounds. Bud won 9 to 10 of those rounds. There's no way in hell, if you watched that fight, you thought Canelo won as many rounds.
Sutherland and Cheetum, they would be the first guys called into the office on Monday if a national czar came in and said, I'm going to start investigating this sport. I'm starting to look at the things that Teddy Atlas talked about and a lot of other people talk about. I'm going to start, and that a lot of fans talk about, that they're leaving the sport because of the bad judging and officiating. I'm going to start to look at it. And the two guys I would say to you, sir, whoever you are, I would say, sir, it might be a good place to start with a guy named Sutherland and a guy named, yes, sir, I'm not making this name up. What is the name, Teddy? Cheetum. I had people winning 11 rounds. All right, even if you said 10, you'd be kind of generous. But to have it that close, I mean, come on. And then the other fights you talked about, I mean, he's got a track record where the problem with him isn't just that he's so off and the numbers are so off. They're off for always the A fighter. That's the thing that puts a light on in my mind, that puts a danger light on, is that he's always, Canelo's the A guy always, right? We know that. We don't have to dispute that. So it's not like he's on the side of the B guy. He's always on the side of the guy that the promoter would want to win. That's what...
The trouble lies beyond a single judge. Teddy Atlas argues the structure itself is broken. In Las Vegas, boxing's hub, a handful of officials oversee nearly every huge event. There's little rotation, no injection of fresh talent. It's an inner circle, a closed shop. Atlas says this comfort erodes fairness. Promoters, commissions, and repeat judges form ties that blur independence. Without wider accountability, results lean toward whoever fuels the business engine. For Atlas, reform is overdue, neutral panels, broader training, and stricter oversight. Otherwise, the cycle will persist, and fighters like Crawford may always face forces outside the ring shaping their destiny.
If you got the same officials all the time, which we're talking about, you do. I mean, just look, every time there's a big fight, you got the same guys for the most part. And again, I think that you can help a lot by rotating and getting new blood in there, and also geographically looking and saying, don't keep putting every time you put a fight in Vegas, don't put the same guys from there. Bring in guys from different locales. Mix it up a little bit, because you have these promoters that have a relationship and a familiarity where the judges are more prone to go towards them. Why? Why, Teddy? Why? Because they go out to dinner with them, they give money under the table. They do go out to dinner. I'm not saying they give money under the table. I'm not saying that. But they know that those are the guys that butter.
They tried to bury Terence Crawford. They tried to ruin his reputation. and say that he wasn't a draw when the numbers were there for you to see. When he went to MSG against guys that didn't have big names or that were faded, like Amir Khan, or when he fought Kaviaskis, he did numbers. There was a smear campaign about his personality. He doesn't talk. Nobody wants to hear him. No, that you don't want to hear him. So you try to speak for the masses when the whole time you have a star right here. You got to learn how to talk to this man. Even as recent as his last fight, the fight before Canelo, the smear campaign continued. I don't hear the smear campaign now. Them voices got really, really quiet like they typically do when they get proven wrong. And they either try to jump on the wagon, I knew this kid was going to be that, or they get very, very quiet and they start to retreat back to wherever they came from and they don't have a lot to say. So I'm happy for this brother for that reason, because they tried to bury him, Roy. It didn't work. He overcame that. He said, give me my shot. I'm going to show you. And he kept doing it time and time again, and he did it again.